The first case of novel coronavirus in the Philippines was confirmed on January 30 in a 38-year-old woman who arrived from Wuhan. 2 days later, on February 1, the Philippines recorded the first death outside China. The Philippine government mounted a multi-sectoral response to COVID-19 through the Interagency Task Force on Emergent Infectious Disease, chaired by, of course, the Department of Health. Through the National Action Plan on COVID-19, the government aims to contain the spread of virus and mitigate its socio-economic impacts. As for the economy, the National Economic and Development Authority, or NEDA, revised its economic growth outlook for the Philippines from a 6.5% to 7.5% GDP growth to only 5.5 to 6.5 following the pandemic. Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas Governor Benjamin Jokno and NED Director General Ernesto Pernia forecast that the Philippine economy would likely enter a recession in 2020 due to the effect of the pandemic. Now, recession is a period of economic contraction where businesses see less demand and begin to lose money. So they will cut costs. And to cut costs, although we hope that this will not happen, companies will lay off workers and this will generate higher levels of unemployment. On March 9, the Philippine Stock Exchange Index lost 6.76%, its steepest decline since the financial crisis of 2007 to 2008. Now, I am not good with numbers, so to put it simply, there's a stock market crash. On the brighter side, the BSP records a lesser inflation rate in April and in March compared from February and January. The event was primarily caused by lower oil prices and transportation costs, even if the prices of food supplies rose. Finance Secretary Carlos Dominguez III also said that the Philippines has enough resources not only to contain the disease but also to arrest its economic fallout. For the political and social side, following the sharp increase of confirmed cases, President Duterte called on Congress to hold special sessions on March 23 to enact the Bayanihan to Heal as One. The Bayanihan to Heal as One Act would authorizes the President to exercise 30 special powers necessary to carry out urgent measures to meet the current national emergency related to COVID-19. But this will only last for 3 months unless extended by the Congress. Duterte also imposed an enhanced community quarantine covering the entire Luzon, and local government units outside Luzon has also imposed their own quarantine measures. Although online, using the hashtag #OusDuterte, Philippine netizens are expressing their discontent with the administration because, number one, Duterte moved slowly to implement travel restrictions and people coming to and from China. Number two, people are also frustrated since they think that the government fails to reassure the public that everything is under control, since the government hasn't been rolling out mass testing and showing credible sources that infections are really declining. To be fair, the government's struggles are not entirely of its own fault, given the country's weak public health system. I hope you have come to realize how important it is to prioritize our country's health system, to give importance to our doctors, nurses, and other health workers. Furthermore, unlike what other people say, there was no budget cut for DOH under the enacted 2020 budget. But even if there is, Congress will always be ready to pass a supplemental budget for health, which they actually did. Additionally, COVID-19 revealed not only the leaders who have good and genuine characteristics, but more importantly, those local leaders who are ineffective and not really stepping up. The pandemic did not only reveal the weaknesses of some of our local leaders, but also it exposed the weaknesses of our state and our state institutions. one could come to a realization how process and institutions can easily be played with, that even if we elect a strong man, if our democratization process is problematic and our institutions are unstable, it will still not solve majority of the issues of the Philippines.